Hello, everybody. Welcome along. It is Sunday morning, the 17th of May 2020, which means it is 20 years to the day that I saw the greatest game I have ever seen in my life. Nothing has surpassed it before, nothing has surpassed it in the 20 years since. So today, normally I have a laptop out of shot, I've made notes. I'm just going to talk off the cuff about the greatest game I ever saw because all of the thoughts and all of the emotions are still there. I am talking about Ipswich Town 5, Bolton Wanderers 3, playoff final, second leg. Now, the great thing about this game, and I guess about all great stories, is it's not just about that evening. So to give you some idea of this, I am 17 years old, or no, it's coming up 17 years old. Obviously, we're talking Ipswich, which is my team. And I started properly going to Ipswich 3 or 4 years before. Ipswich dropped out of the Premier League, and that's the start of the story. You can even go back further. You can go back to the story of this game starting with a 9-0 defeat in the Premier League. George Burley has taken over a horrible situation, a horrible job, and it's 9-0 at Old Trafford, the Premier League record. I know Leicester equalled it, didn't they, this season, but something us Ipswich fans have to live with. But you need to start with that, which would have been in 1995, 5 years before that. George Burley takes over, down Ipswich come. He rejigs and restructures this squad, and in his first season he just misses out in the playoffs. But in the second season, Ipswich reach the playoffs. They make a mad chase towards the end of that season. Come up against Sheffield United in the playoffs, Howard Kendall's Sheffield United. There was always a sense at this time that Ipswich played great football in this division, and they were always, and obviously in my eyes, the good guys in these situations. You come up against protagonists. I remember Don Hutchison, Dane Whitehouse, and Howard Kendall, and Peter Cachuro, and you remember all the players that punished you. Ipswich lose on away goals. They draw the first leg 1-1 and draw the second leg 2-2. So all of a sudden, this story, if you're writing a movie, has got this sense of injustice that my team has been, fighting the good fight, playing the good football, knocked out on away goals. Then the next season, the team gets better, slightly better each year, and I guess it would be Jamie Clapham and Matt Holland and David Johnson come. And then get to the end of the season, again in the playoffs, but Charlton on a mad run under Alan Curbishley. It's a bit more cut and dried, this one. Charlton win both legs 1-0. Again, they go on and get promoted in an amazing playoff final against Sunderland, in fact. But again, a sense of us being the good guys, and Danny Mills and Mark Kinsella and Eddie Youds being a little bit physical to get through, all building up this narrative. Off we go again for the next season, and it's the playoffs yet again, and it's even more heartbreaking now. We have Kieran Dyer in the team, a young player brought through. It's Bolton Wanderers for the first time, and again it's away goals, Idager Johnson, and amazingly even more into the narrative of things being a little bit unfair. An extra time away goal Ipswich lose to. They draw 4-4. The home leg is won 4-3, and this idea that the team that finishes higher gets home advantage, but yet the away team then has 30 minutes more to score a goal that counts double, was incredible. So this game I'm talking about that happened 20 years ago is based on 3 successive years of playoff final defeats, twice on away goals, and like I say, always the sense that Ipswich were fighting the good fight and playing the good football, and these villainous teams led by Colin Todd and Alan Kirvishley and Howard Kendall came a bit, which leads us to the game 20 years ago today. And again, if you were writing a movie about this game, this idea that Ipswich challenged all the way through the season and they're just pipped to the post by Manchester City on the last day. And we go to the first leg of this game at Bolton, and Bolton are 2-0 up in 20 minutes. Ipswich's captain is off injured, substituted Tony Mowbray, and their top goal scorer is off injured, David Johnson, within like 30 minutes. And then we get our first kind of Superman heroic performance against this villains, where the record signing Marcus Stewart scores 2 incredible goals, still to this day one of the most virtuoso performances I've ever seen. So the first leg is 2-2, and of course we're all thinking now, the away goals have been removed. Ipswich chairman David Cheapshanks lobbied, and we're thinking, we've got 2 away goals now this year, are we going to now miss out? So look, that is the setup for this game, and I do think for people's greatest games, often it is the narrative around it and the build-up, and I've hopefully not waffled on about it too long. That is a 5-year build-up from losing 9-0 to 4 playoff defeats, to 3 playoff defeats, excuse me, to missing out on away goals twice, to missing out on second place twice, and automatic promotion. And as I keep saying, always fighting the good fight against those evil opponents. So here we get to the game. It's so tense and so nervous. Ipswich in the playoffs there was a sense they'd bottled it before, and just palpable tension as you got to the ground. One thing I love as the season winds down is you get to the 7:45 kickoffs and you start in sunshine, like in a summer evening, and you know as the drama ramps up during the night, it's going to get darker as you go. And we get to the ground. It's Sam Allardyce now as Bolton boss. Now, this is one of the most crazy games. I haven't done notes on this. I have obviously studied it intensely from my work at the Blue Monday podcast and recent interviews that I wrote or conducted with David Johnson and Marcus Stewart, and one I wrote for Jim Majilton for our podcast very, very recently. So if I get one bit of information out of order, excuse me, but I'm going to tell it from the heart with no notes. So I am in the Churchman's stand behind the goal. I had a season ticket there for the game with a couple of friends. Off we go, and Ipswich always have to do it the hard way. This game's no different. Dean Holdsworth, who just had our number in these games, puts in a free kick. No, he doesn't. That's the second goal. He scores what seemed to be a dubious goal, where Richard Wright, Ipswich keeper, jumps with the striker, and is he fouled? Is he not fouled? Who knows? It falls down. Holdsworth puts it in. So of course we're up against it. Back comes the fight. Back we come, and the first penalty of the evening. Who was it went down? I think it was Majilton himself went down, and up steps our Superman for the night, Jim Majilton, and he puts the penalty in the corner. Away we go again, and that guy Holdsworth, like I say, just had our number, and it was just like the struggle of this game. No sooner we got in front than Bolton just came back and just scored again. Every time our nerves kicked in, and they managed to capitalise. So Holdsworth, it's a great free kick, curls it around the wall into the corner, and it's 2-1, and it's his third goal across the 2 legs. Back we come again, and it's another penalty just before half time. Up steps Majilton, and we have interviewed him about this. He says he changes his mind, and he gets out psyched by Jääskeläinen in goal, goes the same direction, and the penalty is saved, and you're thinking this is just not going to happen. And you can go back to the struggle, and Ipswich in the hero's position here, in my opinion, obviously having everything against them. They've missed the penalty again, but here we come into the second half, and Majilton scores again. Absolutely brilliant goal, gets into the box. I think we're around the hour mark in the game. Dribbles, puts it in. It's 2-2. right, here we go, 4-4 on aggregate. The atmosphere is incredible. There's needle, there's tension on a knife edge, but we're now going to go on and win, of course. No, immediately from the kickoff it goes forward, and Alan Johnston, the Scottish winger, from 25 yards, half volleys it, smashes it into the top corner. Just, I have never ever known elation get sucked out in that. It was incredible. Bolton now 5-4 up, 3-2 up on the night, and Ipswich are going to lose out again. Not on away goals though, because it's 5-4. So here we come into the last minute, booted forward, and Jim Magilton gets a nod down from Tony Mowbray and puts it into the corner, right foot, half volley. My God, extra time. And the thing I remember about it is I'd resigned myself to the fact that we were losing in the crowd. I was setting myself up. And then the goal goes in and you're like, oh my God, extra time. Here we go again. I believe after that goal, or possibly before, I can't quite remember which, Mike Whitlow has been sent off, and I'll talk about the subplot with the referee, because Bolton are going to have 3 penalties given against them, 2 red cards and 12 bookings, whilst Ipswich get no bookings. And I know Bolton fans just have not got over this, but I'll talk about that in a little second. We go into extra time. David Johnson gets thrown over, manhandles, another penalty. Jim Magilton's already got the hat trick. And if Jamie Clapham puts this in, it's 4-3 into extra time. So 6-5 on aggregate. And we think we're finally there and home and hosed. Oh my God. Clapham steps up, puts it down the middle. And it is 4-3 on the night, 6-5 on aggregate. Have we finally got to Wembley like we felt we deserved after all of those years of missing out in the semi-final? There's another red card. Robbie Elliott smashes through the back of Marcus Stewart. And we just want to play down, get this done, and then just incredible moment. Bolton come forward with their 9 men now. They're trying to do something. And of course, any counter-attack, massive numbers. Richard Naylor plays through. Martin Reusser, in he goes. Brilliant finish. Shifts it from right foot to left foot, right into the top corner as well. What a player he was. And it is 5-3, 7-5 on aggregate. And this seemed to be the only way that Ipswich were going to get to Wembley. A 2-goal advantage with 9 minutes or something of extra time to go and playing against 9 men. It felt like it was so tense and nervous that any other way there would have been an equaliser and they would have lost on penalties or something. So just incredible memories. The greatest game I ever saw. Jim Magilton with a hat trick. 3 penalties, 2 of them scored, 1 of them missed. 2 red cards for Bolton. Ipswich 1-0 down, 2-1 down, and 3-2 down. A last-minute equaliser. 5-5 on aggregate after full time. 7-5 on aggregate after extra time. Just absolutely incredible. Being a young kid who didn't know any better, of course, I joined in the pitch invasion. Just this absolute and total, utter elation. And I remember moments of it like it was absolutely yesterday. And that's why I think it's important to do this without notes and just kind of speak from the heart, because obviously we all love our football. Everybody subscribing loves their football. And these are the moments, the special moments that really sort of stay with you. You're with your friends. At the time I'm going through sixth form, so it all kind of, folds around that time. And just as I say, the best payoff to 5 years of trying to get to Wembley and get back. And of course Ipswich did win at Wembley to get up to the Premier League. But that, along with many Ipswich, and I think for Ipswich fans, because it's been so barren since, and this idea that we'll never see anything like that or anything better, down in League One in 10th place now at the start of the lockdown, that we hold on to that memory so precious of a great team, swashbuckling football, brave in the face of seemingly everything that could go wrong, away goals, players injured, constantly going behind, 2-0 went behind 5 times during that tie and still managed to win it 7-5 on aggregate. What an incredible moment, incredible story. Mark Isles from the Bolton local paper tweeted yesterday and fuels a fire that's been burnt by Sam Allardyce in his book, blaming the refereeing for this decision, which doesn't ruin it for Ipswich fans a little bit. Obviously, you can't take that moment away. I wish Allardyce had been a bit more glowing in his endorsements. Anyone can moan about refereeing, and if you look just at the stats, yeah, okay, it looks suspicious. 3 penalties, 2 red cards, 12 yellow cards. But you can't just look at those stats. 0 for Ipswich, by the way, is what really annoys Bolton fans. You can't just look at those stats and say that that is evidence of refereeing wrongdoing or biased refereeing. I believe what happened in this game is that Bolton got ahead, went toe-to-toe in the first game and realised that they couldn't out-football this team, and it got back to 2-2, even without... The Ipswich team was so good, even without Mowbray and Johnson that were lost in the first leg. And I think they were without Idager Johnson, who was their best player. And I think Allardyce got them too fired up, and I think they lost their heads. And I've wanted to, for a while, to debate this with either a Bolton fan or a qualified ref, to actually look back and with the evidence we've got, say, right, which of these decisions is wrong? Which did he get wrong? And if you want to say that Ipswich players should have got booked, can you show me evidence of, show me the video, show me the fouls of who should have been, but I'd happily debate it. I remember it being a massively physical game, and I remember the Bolton players losing their heads, but I'd be happy to debate that with anybody and look at the evidence. And therein lies the biggest problem. This game was not on live TV, so the best anyone has got is a 20 minutes highlights package, and then throw into the fact there that only 2,000 Bolton fans could have been at this game. So the evidence just is not there. Not enough Bolton fans saw it. There's not enough TV footage of it. I'd love to get the full 120 minutes and sit down and watch it back just to look and try and prove this. But I don't want it to ruin what is the greatest game that I feel that I have ever seen in my lifetime. That is the story of it. It was 20 years ago today. Time flies. I've seen nothing better. I'm sure Derby County fans, I was at this game last season, right at this time, I think maybe yesterday or the day before, the first anniversary of a similarly crazy game there. What was that? That was only 4-3, just a 4-3 on aggregate, but 4-2 on the night, Leeds and Derby. I think that's the closest I've seen to such craziness, and of course it has to be in the Championship playoffs, doesn't it? So that is the story of the greatest game I have ever seen. 20 years ago today. Jim Magilton, the superhero, Bolton Wanderers and Sam Allardyce, the supervillains. A story starting 5 years before with a 9-0 defeat. Wow. Let me know in the comments what your greatest game is, and I hope you've hung around and enjoyed the story of mine. Speaking completely from the heart, no notes, no laptop, no nothing, and hopefully you got something out of that. Let me know what you think in the comments, and please tell me what your greatest game you ever saw was. And if you're a qualified referee or a Bolton fan and you want to sit down and sensibly debate the refereeing angle of it, because I do feel that's the only cloud on many Ipswich fans of my age greatest moment watching football, then please do get in touch. Thank you very much for watching. No doubt more later, and more Bundesliga as football returned yesterday from the lockdown. Thanks for watching. See you on the next video. 20 years ago today, Ipswich 5, Bolton 3, playoff semi-final. Wow. What a night.